Hi, welcome to Faithlicious and Friends. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. My name is Faith, but I would prefer you call me Faithlicious. So good to be back. And I thought a wonderful way to just dive right in is to look at the ideology of perfectionism. In fact, the question I have is perfectionism a good thing or is it a bad thing?
This episode is brought to you in partnership with Wade Extreme Plus, providing quality media services.
But before we, jump right into whether it's good or bad, let's define who is a perfectionist or what is, perfectionism. Now, we hear this praise a whole lot, flawless, impeccable, but can anything truly be perfect? Is it possible? Is it even something to strive to achieve? Now, back to the definition. A perfectionist, let's define who a perfectionist is. A perfectionist is someone who sets very high expectation, high unrealistic expectation on themselves and on others. In fact, they are very quick to find faults. They're very critical about mistakes. The biggest people who are prone to this ideology of perfectionism are procrastinators. A perfectionist is a big procrastinator because of the fear of failure. They procrastinate projects because of the fear of failure. And they're not also very big on compliments, so they don't celebrate their successes. So I would say that, yeah, sure. Having a drive, to better one's self, helps you stay committed, helps you overcome challenges. But psychologists have actually linked the ideology of perfection or perfectionism to high IQ. There were studies that have been done, and the studies found that higher IQ is linked to, being cautious, being a perfectionist. And I tend to believe and agree with that research because the need to be perfect takes time. And people who have higher IQ are patient enough to wait to get the job done right. Not just get it done, but get it done right. Is it bad to be a perfectionist? The research on this is unequivocal. There is very little upside to perfectionism. The relentless pursuit to be flawless can lead to anxiety disorder, depressive disorder. It can lead to high stress because of fear of failure, and in some extreme cases can lead to suicidal tendencies. So how do you know if you're a perfectionist? I'll tell you. Now, there's been some research by some mental health experts that have brought up signs that you can use to measure if you're a perfectionist, if your need for perfection is affecting the quality of your life. And I'm just going to run through them real quickly. First on my list is you're a perfectionist in all things. It's one thing to be a perfectionist in your career. You want to climb that professional ladder, right? But to be a perfectionist in every single thing, take, for example, unless you're a chef, right? If you are stressed because the pasta you cooked is overcooked, it doesn't look as colorful or beautiful as, the picture in the cookbook, then you might want to, take it down a notch. You might want to also reconsider your need for perfection because it means that, it's harming the quality of your life. Basically, your need for perfection is beginning to harm the quality of your life. Next on my list, that second on my list, you're an all or nothing person. All or nothing person. Now, if you believe that second place is just first loser, you're warping your ability to strive for realistic success, and it is affecting the quality of your life. Now, the third on my list is, you want to know if you're a perfectionist, is you care about approval. After all, who measures what is perfect? People, right? And because of that, perfectionists tend to desire approval above all else. If you find yourself focusing more on what people say than the effort you put in, then your need for perfectionism is negatively affecting your priorities in life. And fourth on my list would be feedback. Feedback makes you defensive. Now, it's natural. We all tend to get upset if someone says something unkind to us. But there's a difference between a cruel comment and a constructive one. Perfectionists have difficulty telling the difference between these two. So you find that you can't see through a performance review without lashing out, then it is affecting, your desire for perfection is actually going to affect not just your professional standing, but it's going to cause you to also lose friends. Number five on my list is you are highly critical of others. Now, if you feel like you have to be the best at all things and at all times, you might resort to tearing other people down. And, this you do just to make you feel elevated. While we are critical about others from time to time, a level of perfectionism that leads to, being constantly critical can hurt your professional standing and cause you to lose friends. And that is bad. Number 6 is a big one. And a lot of people would find themselves in this category. Number 6 is you're a big procrastinator. I also find myself in this category. I'm a work in progress, still working on it, tweaking out all the kinks and all that. But one of the core aspects of harmful perfectionism is the fear of failure. In fact, it's in many people. In many people, this fear of failure manifests in the avoidance behavior, like procrastination. Unfortunately, this kind of thinking can put you endlessly behind deadlines, and when you're behind deadlines, that adds a lot of stress to your life. So that is, one of the ways to know that you fall in this category. Now, real quickly, I'm just going to rush through it. Is it all doom and gloom? No. There are ways to cope with this extreme need for perfectionism to improve the quality of your life. Here are a few steps. Number 1, you want to gain awareness of your thoughts and tendencies. And gaining awareness, one of the ways of gaining awareness is this video you're watching right now, because it's bringing it to your knowledge, is bringing it to your attention that there is this situation and that something needs to be done about it. Second is journaling. You want to journal, okay? It can help you identify these thoughts. So pick a time when you were struggling with perfection, your need to be perfect, and write everything that came to your mind, everything that comes to mind around that task, what it made you feel like when you needed to be perfect, whether it feels rational or not. Just write it down. Later on, when you go through, what you've written down, is there a theme that starts to, come to light? Observe the thoughts, the tendencies, the behaviors, and then you can actually do something to start changing it. Another way to cope with this is challenge your thoughts with concrete facts. By this, I mean not, focusing on what you feel like or what, wanting to be perfect made you feel like, but what are concrete facts? Because what is the evidence? Let me put it this way. What is the evidence that you are not good enough or you don't measure up? What's the evidence? Try making a list, maybe do a column and write concrete facts why you are good enough. Concrete facts, to against those thoughts that, whisper in your ear that you're not good enough. And the third is allow yourself to make mistakes. Please, in fact, if you do not hear anything else when it comes to coping with the need for excessive perfectionism, hear this: allow yourself make mistakes. Please, I'll say it again. Please allow yourself make mistakes. When you allow yourself to make mistakes, you teach your brain that it's not the end of the world. Okay, because when you make mistakes and nothing happens, your brain starts to identify that life doesn't end when you do make a mistake. In fact, a mistake is a perfect opportunity for you to learn, to grow, and to do better. So why not try something new? Try something you've never done before. And just instead of trying to be perfect on that thing, focus on enjoying, what it is you're doing. Focus on learning to be better in the journey, okay? This will help you learn that mistakes are necessary to get to where you want to go to. That's one of the coping mechanisms. And number 4 on my lists for how to cope is alter that negative talk. In fact, let me change it. Change your negative self-talk. If you're constantly thinking you're not good enough, it can be hard, to overcome perfectionism. It can be hard to deal with life generally. This negative self-talk may go on in your mind and can actually be detrimental to your self-esteem. And the 5th, because I'm rushing through, these are practice acceptance in good enough. In fact, this is very close to allowing yourself make mistake. Practice acceptance in good enough. Perfectionists, we were defining earlier on, we talked about how perfectionists are set unrealistic expectation. And what we're trying to say is try to acknowledge and understand that you have perfectionistic tendencies. And if you've completed a task and you've done a good job, practice accepting that while it may not be perfect, it is good enough. Did you do your best as of when you were doing it? Then it is good enough. 6 here is set reasonable goals. Basically, set SMART goals. By SMART, I mean specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based or timely goals. SMART, SMART goals, okay? And consider breaking down your task into smaller bits. The beautiful thing about that is that when you're able to tick some of those tasks as successful, it gives you a boost, and then you don't feel so bad. You're able to move on with your task. So those are some of the things that you can do, to cope with your excessive need to be perfect so that it doesn't hinder the quality of your life. But here is something I want to say real quickly. What is better than perfectionism? Is there something better than being a perfectionist? I'll tell you, it's a secret. Come closer. Being done is better than being perfect. Yes, perfectionism can be a real drag. I mean, it can keep you from moving forward in your project. The reality is that we all make mistakes. However, we can still learn from our mistakes. So practice being done. In fact, I think it was a professor in psychology from the University of Ottawa. What was his name again? It was Professor Patrick Goudreau. Yes, Patrick Goudreau. He coined a term that I'm going to borrow right now. He coined this term, excellencism. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Excellencism. It basically involves setting high standards, but not beating yourself up when you don't meet up to those standards. So yes, so instead of trying to be perfect, try excellencism. Since, to wrap up this segment, I'm going to say real quickly, since it is not humanly possible to be great at a job 100% of the times, how about we practice 70% of the time, and then the other 30% we chalk it down to experience. Don't call them mistakes, call it experience. I believe it's this very popular guy, Thomas Edison, who came up with the light bulb. I love how he handled it. He said, he tried it over about 1,000 times, I believe. And he says, I didn't make a mistake 1,000 times. I didn't fail 1,000 times. I found 1,000 ways how not to do it. Now think about it. Have you just think about trying to do a project right now and you had to do it 1,000 times to get it right. Some people would have given up at the 50th, but he said, I found 1,000 ways how not to do it. Not that I failed, I just found out that it doesn't work that way. So he continued until he got it right. So that is what I'm encouraging you to do. With practice, it will be possible to let go of perfection and see that we have made reasonable effort. So if you fall in that category, it's affecting the quality of your life, I'm saying take a look back, do something about it, follow some of the steps that we've mentioned. And if you know someone who, falls in this category, you can share this video with them and probably talk about it later just to make sure that they watched it. But that's all we can take today. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like, to comment, and to share. Hit the thumbs up button so that, we know that you like it. And then subscribe and hit the little bell so that you're notified whenever we drop a video here. I am so looking forward to the comment section on this topic so that we can discuss it, because a lot of people fall into this category. You just own up if you're one. And if you know someone, share and own up with them. Start a chat, start a conversation. Let's get this, going. I am looking so forward to the next video that's coming up, because it's something that we've kind of mentioned in the video here today. I'm looking forward to it. But until next time, I want to say, stay cool, take care of yourself, and as always, keep it real. My name is Faith, but please do call me Faithalicious, and I'll see you again here on Faithalicious and Friends. Until next time, bye-bye.